Ziggy, you were last at Bluesfest a couple of years ago in 2018, which was your first Bluesfest as well. How was it for you? You have a good time?
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So, it was my first time officially playing blues. But like we touched on 2 years ago when we last spoke, I actually played blues once before. I had a busking permit to play outside of the festival, and I so much as dragged all my gear just as the busking stage was finishing. I dragged my gear to the big tree that's next to the busking stage, and kicked off and started busking for about an hour until officials came and saw me. And by that time, there was a nice big crowd around this tree where I was busking, and they kind of let me off with a smile, and I packed up my stuff and off I went. So my first official time playing blues being 2018, it was amazing. Believe it or not, I hopped on stage and pretty much my whole guitar rig that I had set up completely just, what's the word, fell apart actually in the sound check. And it was this really hilarious moment because I had this kind of, you have an idea of how your show's going to go, and technically, obviously, you don't expect stuff to kind of go haywire. But I kid you not, this guitar rig I had, this rack unit, completely just stopped working in sound check. But it was kind of this beautiful moment because it kind of just made me feel like, okay, well, I'm just going to go out and play my acoustic guitar, and that's it. I went out there with obviously my, kick drum and acoustic guitar, but I planned to play electric and be kind of adding in a few effects. But it was funny, it kind of stripped everything back, and that was exactly what I needed in that moment anyway, to feel comfortable on stage. And it was just an absolute blast. It was a really special moment playing blues back in 2018.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Of course, I had no idea that you were going through technical problems, and it sounded great, and the audience loved it. So I suppose that's all that matters, really, isn't it?
That's exactly right. It's definitely, I think it was one of those moments that shows the importance of just kind of, I'm lucky to feel like the importance of my show is just being there, being present, having, when things go wrong. I think humility is a wonderful thing. And it was just a great time, to be honest, with friends and family. Had a bunch of friends come up on stage and play different instruments and sing and stuff like that. And it was just a really, really, really special moment. So I'm really excited to come back. I think blues is just an all-time festival. I love the demographic of people. I love all the different artists, an all-Australian lineup this year. So, I mean, it's really exciting.
Yeah, cool. And have you sort of started planning what you might do, or what you might be bringing this year? I know you've got some new songs and a new album in the pipeline too.
Yeah, well, that's a great question. And my managers were asking me actually just like last week, so have you started planning what you're going to do? And I'm like, I actually should start doing that. So yeah, we've got a lot. We've had a whole bunch of music releases this year, a bunch of singles, and different collaborative EPs and acoustic albums. So, and we just announced for March 2021 to bring out my latest album called Searching for Freedom. So it's going to be a very interesting experience. See, I haven't played any shows, I don't think, since January this year. So by the time I get back to blues, it'll be kind of, I don't know, like over 12 months since playing any big shows. I came off this massive run of Australian and New Zealand shows, and then the Australian shows were like Sydney Myer Music Bowl and River Stage, and headlining those. And so it's going to be pretty funny basically coming off like I think 12 months of not playing shows to who knows how many people at Bluesfest. It'll be a pretty massive performance. Yeah, I think that probably I'll, for the fact that it's kind of going to be over a year since I've played to any live performance, particularly that sort of size, I think I'll probably mix in the new album will have been out. People have had a moment to digest it, but I think I'll try and make sure I'm playing some of the new songs off the album, but also just making sure that people who have come out get to hear some of the songs that they want to hear from, Rapture on the Sun or Land and Sea, all the past and previous records. So I had watch this awesome Eagles documentary years ago that kind of really one part of it that left an imprint on me was the guy talking about, you might be playing a song for a thousandth time, but it might be the first time somebody hears it. So that has tied in heavily into my ethos as far as, particularly when it comes to a special moment like blues. I just want to be dancing and singing with people. So I'll play some new songs from the album. I'll play some old songs and just do a nice blend, I think.
Ziggy, we look forward to hosting you back here next Easter. In the meantime, travel safe, stay safe, and look after yourself. And we look forward to Ziggy Alberts at Bluesfest. Actually, it's not too many weeks' time.
Can you believe it? No, honestly, thank you, Rusty, and thanks to everybody who's coming out to blues, and thank you to everyone who's worked tirelessly through this, crazy year to make blues happen. Because we, as music players and music lovers, are dearly invested in what Bluesfest has created on the East Coast. And I'm, like I said, I'm just pumped. I can't wait. It's going to be a very special couple of days.